Awesome, awesome. So the reason why we are specifically focusing today on policyholders transfer from payroll deduction to bank draft is because this is by far the number one conservation opportunity that we have neglected as an agency. And it's really where agency-wide we miss out on the majority of premium that we have written that we are losing customers on. And so when it comes to Oh, hey, Jax, left side of Jax. I'm glad you guys can join us. 5 minutes past. If you can see my screen and hear me, just shoot me a text, Gabriel or Bree, so that way I know that y'all are good to go. So from there, what I was saying is this is the most amount of premium that we lose as a company is this specific report. And when it comes to payroll deduction policies that get removed off, and the reason why we have Richmond Hill on here is because, you know, there's always opportunity, guys, always opportunity when it comes to this business and making more money. And I know that usually the number one focus, especially for newer agents starting off, is how do we generate the next sale, those first sales, right? How do I get a paycheck this Friday? And that has always been just the predominantly focus of, you know, newer agents, especially within your first year. Now, you know, just as an agency director, guys, and SAs, I want you to stop for a second because I want you to think. If you have been here longer than a year with Liberty National, then you have the opportunity to increase your income stream by increasing your renewals. Okay, so I know newer agents more of the focus is towards those new sales, but this really is focusing more toward those in leadership or those agents that have been here with us for more than a year. Because once you've been here for more than a year, you'll start to realize and see on your ICM that those renewals begin to generate. After your first year, sometimes you may see like $1, $5, $10, depending on how much your volume of production was your first year. But when Gerald spoke, when we went over chargebacks, he's been a director for 5 years, and his renewals were averaging about $750 a week. And so, a month. And that is $750 a month in just renewals. So if that opportunity has been presented to one agency director, I know that that's available to everybody else that's here in this career long term, because that is one of the biggest advantages with this opportunity is to be able to generate that long-term wealth in the form of a renewal. So for my newer agents, what is a renewal? A renewal is something that pays you. It pays you when your customers pay their premiums 13 months or more. So, you know, we get paid on Monday. You submit your applications on Monday. You get paid Thursday or Friday on the assumption that a customer pays their premium for a full year. Well, obviously, if they don't pay those premiums for a full year, we have what's called chargebacks, and it charges back out of your commission account once they do not pay for a full year. But once they do pay for a full year, we have what's called renewals that end up paying you as the writing agent because the customer keeps their policy for more than a year. Okay, this is on the conservation form. When we do conserve this specific type of conservation, it is on the conservation form as the option number 4. I have not printed the conservation form out for you guys because that's going to be the next time we do training. I've decided to split conservation up in 2 different sessions because there are so many different rules and so many different conservation options that it really does take us splitting it up and making sure that we focus on you guys understanding, comprehending, and implementing conservation efforts before I just kind of throw all these conservation options to you guys. So that's why I kind of wanted to focus today specifically on checkbox number 4, payroll deduction to bank draft. As I said before, most opportunity when it comes to salvaging business on the back end is going to be from policies removed from payroll deduction. So guys, if you are licensed, then you are able to be calling on conservations on the Saturday themes to transfer business to you for more commissions and renewals. Okay, I want everybody to write this down because I need all, especially guys, my worksite AD and Richmond Hill. I want you writing this down too. And the reason why we have Richmond Hill on here is because I'm going to show you guys, but I need everybody writing this down. The recode timeline on the SAMs, on the Saturday SAMs. I've been sending that on Mondays. When you get it on Monday, the policies that are 60 days past due, you have 3 days to contact those customers and get them conserved over to bank draft. Guys, if there are people that you're following up with that just, we need to get that banking information, you know, you need to follow up with them, then just reply back to me and let me know so that way I can go ahead and remove them off. But guys, here's the thing is if we're not getting results, they're not coming off of that Saturday SAM. Okay, I know Alicia does a really good job when they have done some conservations. It will also show up on the Saturday SAMs, and she sends me an email. Please remove the below policies because they have been conserved. And so once I get those emails, I remove them off of the Saturday SAMs because what I do is I send them 2 weeks in a row. So this past Saturday, you got it on Monday. I'm going to send it again next Monday. And I remove off any of those policies that have been there where I've gotten emails on. So again, 60 days past due. When I send that original email out, you're going to get 3 days to conserve, move them over to bank draft. Now, the remaining policies on that report are going to be eligible for recode 7 days from that email. 7 days. So that's going to be the following Monday that all those policies are going to be open game for this entire agency to conserve. Now, when it comes, so let me pause right there for a second and kind of show you guys the reason why. I know I've had this conservation training before a couple months ago, and there was some urgency, but the urgency now is even greater. What you guys should see on my screen right now is the quality dashboard that generated out on June 25th. That report did get sent out this week, and we're used to the focus. How do I get my annotation? Hang on, give me a second, guys. We're used to the focus of just on, excuse me, hang on a second. Okay, we're used to, on that quality email that we look at, you know, the quality reports, we're used to just looking at the DCN and the 4-month persistency, okay? Our DCN's looking great. Average is 9 company-wide, so we're right there at average. As far as persistency goes, our 4-month is a 90%. Company average is about 88. So guys, you could see that we're above average when it comes to the 4-month persistency. Now, Brian and I had a conversation last week because what I'm hearing a lot of when we have chargebacks hit after the 19th of the month, when the last policies come out, I'm getting phone calls and text messages on, man, my commission account dropped, what's going on? And it really is that reaction from ADs and SAs. Some people may be going into the negatives. Well, Brian and I kind of did this at a glance the last 6 months and just trying to see why is it the commission account, even his as an agency owner, is dropping. And that's because our 13th month persistency as an agency, guys, is 58%. 58%, when our goal should be 75%. So here's some perspective for you. This just means that in the last year of all the sales we've written, only a little more than half has paid on the books for more than a year. Wow. So that means almost half of the business we wrote in the last year is not paying agents, SAs, agency directors, and agency owner in renewals. And that is easy money because we already have an existing relationship with the customer. All of our worksite products are portable except vision and dental. That's the biggest selling point usually when we're presenting to these cases, okay? And I mean, really, when we go to even conserve the policies, we don't have to get a signature. The individual market, when they're doing conservations, they have to get a signature every single conservation. And sometimes getting that signature is a little more difficult than just having a conversation with somebody over the phone and giving them the opportunity to keep it on an individual basis. So you guys can even see right here on this trend where we've trended just in the last year. Oh, I'm getting some background noise, guys. I don't know who it is, but I am going to have to mute. I do apologize, but kind of distracting. So, okay. So you could see here our trend on our 13th month. My pen's going here. Okay. So you could see here is where we've dropped, and we have never been at a 58% ever. In the last year. I even went back last year. We never had a 58% since I've been a quality manager for the last 4 years. So what that tells me, guys, is we're doing an awesome job focusing on the upfront DCN and 4-month persistency, but we have a systemic problem when it comes to conservations on the back end of business, not retaining the customers, not shutting the back door, and we have a lot of bleeding going on when it comes to policies coming off and lapsing between that 4-month and that 13th month. And all that means is, you can word it and say it's a systemic problem, yes, but the other end of that is that's opportunity for easy money to be made to build people's commissions account and to build renewals for those newer agents that, have that time, that want to be able to build renewals sooner than before their first year as an agent. This is the opportunity right here, guys. 42% of the business, we have the opportunity to keep our customers. And so that's a very big percentage. And as kind of a recap on this deal, now, again, Richmond Hill is going to be helping in the recode process. So, Nikki and I are only 2 people, but we are an entire agency where we do about $6 million a year in sales. And it is not practically realistic for us as just 2 quality managers to conserve the majority of this business on the back end. So we have to do this as a team. And I understand, yes, Richmond Hill is going to be helping, but for my I would say probably 80% of all my other worksite agents that are sitting there watching this webinar, guys, you have the opportunity to be implementing efforts on a weekly basis to be able to conserve your own policies, to keep those commissions and keep those renewals. That is what we are wanting to do. But the purpose of this is to really create the urgency for us to start with a plan of action ASAP, so we can start moving this 13th persistency in the right direction. Okay. And so let's go. Oh, actually, agency directors, guys, I wanted you guys to see by agency director right here on my screen. So just stop, SAs, agents, just stop where ADs. I want you to write your 13th month down, please, right now on that sheet, on that script. Write your 13th month persistency down so you guys can see what exactly is your number, what your team's number, because your number is a reflection of your team. So kind of get an idea of what team you fall on and see where the opportunity is for you guys to help your entire team. And to shout out to Team Travelstead, goal for the company on 13th month persistency is 75%. And Karen's always done a phenomenal job, her and her team, on just quality business, writing quality business. And she, her and her team, 72%, that means the majority of the business she's written in the last year, 72% of it is paying her and her agents in renewals. Okay. So just, if y'all as ADs have any questions on how she does it, just want some feedback, then please definitely reach out to her, because what she's doing is working and is definitely paying her more when it comes to renewals and building that long-term wealth. All right, so now you guys see where you rank as agency directors. Let's move here now to how to do it, what we're doing, where we're calling from, and how to have that conversation with our customers. So let's first, with the money work, that's the number one question that most people ask. Okay, well, if I'm going to start calling on these, how does the money work? So first, let's talk about commissions, because the newly commissioned person must have performed the work to conserve the business. The newly commissioned person must have performed the work to conserve the business. And if the policy has a effective date and paid to date that's within a year, then it's going to pay commissions. If the policy is more than a year old, then it's going to pay that conservation agent in renewals. So say that one more time. Policy is less than a year, pays in commissions. More than a year, pays in renewals. And that goes from the agent to the SA to the AD. Well, excuse me, if it's an agent, I know SAs don't get renewal override on agents, but if the SA is conserving, they get their own renewals, and that AD and AO gets override also on renewals. Okay, so when it comes to waiving premium rules, we get to waive up to 90 days of premium, not necessarily 3 months. 90 days of premium, not 3 months. We can only waive premiums that are missed. So, and this is a big thing with back office. So if today is June 30th, and you guys send me conservation today and want to waive July, home office will not do that. They will draft the customer's account in July. Okay, we do not waive future premiums. We can only waive missed premiums. Okay, so now let's talk about how waiving actually works. So let's just say I'm giving a couple of examples here on different scenarios. So I know today is June 30th, but you are going to see sometimes when it says today is June and it has another date, because I'm trying to get you guys to see, you know, if it's after the 15th versus if it's before the 15th, because the 15th is that determining factor of whether or not we can waive the premiums for that month. So let's say today is June 30th, like I said. Let's say a policy is paid to 7/1. We're not going to waive any premiums, and we're going to draft in July. If the policy is paid to June 1st, we get to waive 1 month. We'll be waiving June, draft in July for whatever date they've selected between the 1st through the 10th. If the policy is paid to 5/1, we can waive 2 months, May and June, and then we would draft for July. Last scenario is if a policy is paid to 4/1, as of today, we cannot waive any more back premium, because it is I know it says 90 days past due, but it's actually 91 days past due at this point. So let me kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. I know my calendar's got a lot of, hang on, let me take this stuff out. Okay, so let's see, today we're in June. There are 30 days in June, 30. The month of May has 31 days, that's 61. The month of April has 30 days. So that's, as of today, it is 91 days past due. That means that any policy that has a 4/1 paid to date needed to have been sent up yesterday in order to process for a waiver conservation. So that is, I do have that all happen often. So please just be making sure, you know, that's the purpose of these conservations. Whenever we're close and we're way behind on paid to dates and we're sending those up, just being very cautious of the 29th, 30th, 30, you know, making sure we're sending it before, so we don't run into thinking it's 3 months versus 90 days. Okay, so let's go back here and now talk about when do we draft. I get this question often, especially from my RYAs, because when they're sending conservations up, sometimes the customers, one of the biggest things they ask is, when are you going to draft my account? So again, 15th of the month is also another determining factor for when we draft. if we have a policy that is paid to 7/1, let's give the first scenario, which let's say today is June 10th. Let's pretend today is June 10th, and we see a policy that is paid to 5/1. We can waive May, but because it is June 10th and it's before the 15th, Home Office is going to draft June as soon as possible and the subsequent months on the selected date. I'm going to add to this. It's not a bullet point on here, but I need everybody to hear me. Let's say the conservation is submitted on June 14th, but the customer selected the 5th as a draft date. We will still draft immediately we submitted on the 14th. Home Office will draft in the next 2 to 3 business days. And then in July, they will draft on the 5th and also the subsequent months. Okay, because the 14th is before the 15th of the month. Let's give another scenario. Let's say today's June 17th. On that same policy that's paid to 5/1. Well, it's after the 15th, so we're going to waive May, we're going to waive June, and it's going to draft July and the subsequent months on the selected date. Okay, so that is how the draft works on this. One of the biggest rules on here, I want everybody to write this down. Every single person, I want to see those pens moving, because we have had more pushback on conservation on this than we ever have before. So Conservation Department has now put in an auditing process. So they are catching Career Life Plus policies. So everybody write this down. Career Life Plus policies cannot be waived. For my individual market, Career Life Plus is basically your whole life on payroll deduction. Okay. If a waiver is needed because it's a month or 2 past due, Home Office can only process by double drafting the account with the customer's authorization. And the key word on this one, guys, is double. Double means 2. So sometimes people will send in conservation and it'll be 3 months past due, and they'll say, please draft all back premium from the customer's account. They are okay with it. Well, the Home Office system mainframe will not allow a 3-month premium draft from an account. The max they can do in mainframe is only 2 months worth of premium. Only 2 months worth of premium. So guys, when we're calling on conservations and we see a Career Life Plus policy, if it is past due, then we have to let the customer know, hey, hey customer, just want to let you know, because this is a specific policy that is interest sensitive, we are going to have to collect the back premium just on this specific policy. So we can draft the last 2 months from your account. That total is going to be, whatever the amount is. Are you okay with that? So now when you get the customer's authorization over the phone, you then fill out the conservation form, send it to me, and in the email, I know Alicia's also done a really good job because they've started catching this recently. Alicia and Jonathan, they'll say customer is aware and okay with double drafting on the Career Life Plus policy. So now all I have to do is send it to Conservation Department, and I can go ahead and let them know. And that streamlines the process and makes it go by faster versus me sending conservation and then Home Office kicking back and saying, we can't waive, please get with customer on double drafting. Then you guys have to go back and get with the customer. And now you have to let them know more is going to come out of the account. They get frustrated, and there's so many other things that can happen from there. You can lose the conservation overall in this step. So I just want you guys to know that. I want everybody to have written that down, because that is a big rule that we're running into here lately since the audit's been put in place. So, the last thing when it comes to waiving premium, every time we waive a month's premium, it is going to waive the commissions and renewals. And I see this often, more than I really thought. I do see agents sending me in the email, please waive this month and next month, or they'll hold on to conservations because they've let the customer know that they can waive 3 months worth of premium. And Guys, what you don't realize is that every time we waive, you're waiving what could be paying you in commissions and renewals. The only time I use the waiver for a customer is if they're transitioning from jobs or they're struggling a little financially to kind of get back going. That's when I bring up the waiver. I don't volunteer this information if they can go ahead and transfer it over on an individual basis right away. I only use the waiver as a way to help them in transition. So I just wanted you guys to know that, yes, we are helping the customer, but also at the same time, you're not helping yourself if we're just volunteering that information up front on the call. Okay. Some people use it right away as like a conservation tactic, I guess, to kind of get them more inclined to give you bank info. But I mean, in doing this 10 years, the customer wants it, finds the value in it, they're going to give you that information and be okay with a draft right away, unless they have, again, financial problems. And that's when introducing the waiver is helpful for them. Okay, so who are we calling? Each week when we have payroll deduction bills that are processed and payments that are processed, employers are removing employees from the invoice. This in front of you is a paper invoice, but you also see a lot removed from online billing, and it's just the customers that are no longer there. They get removed off, and so what ends up happening is a lot of times we don't see this information unless it's hurting our quality. And this report that gets sent out, which is the Saturday SAMs, these are the specific policies that are getting removed off of payroll deduction. Okay. And again, the biggest selling point, guys, is that they can keep their coverage and it is portable. And what you will also find too is a lot of these customers on here, they've had their policies for more than a year, and they forget that they can keep their coverage. Sometimes when you call them, it's like, oh man, I did forget that I had that coverage. I'm so glad you called me because I've been meaning to call you to see if I can keep it. And I get that more times than not when people have had it for more than a year, they forget that they can keep it even though they left the workplace. Okay. And so just wanted you guys to know that this is the report that gets sent out. This is what it looks like. Okay. And also, I know that this is really where we're starting with them coming off of payroll deduction, because this is the first line of defense. This is the first report that you're going to see them come off before it actually shows on your chargeback. Before it shows on your chargebacks. Okay, we're usually finding out conservation opportunity when you look at your chargebacks and when you've already had money taken out of your commission account. And by that time, guys, it's too late. I mean, it's not too late, but I mean, by that time, you've already had money come out of your commission account. And if we can catch it here on the payroll deduction side, or even for my individual market, y'all's report is the premium notice. Premium notice, Nikki sends premium notice out to you guys. So those are, hey guys, here's a flag. Your customer is coming off of either bank draft. On this specific one in front of you, your customer is coming off of payroll deduction. Please reach out to them to get them to keep their coverage so you don't have a chargeback. That's what that means, okay? And so really the first report that you guys should be looking at is going to be the Saturday SAMs for my worksite market, and for my individual market, it is going to be premium notice, okay? And so think and just ask yourself as an agency director, SA and agent, really my 80s and SAs, ask yourself, am I really looking at this report on a weekly basis? Do I look at it? If I am looking at it, is my team looking at it? If me and my team are just looking at it, are we doing anything with it? And if any of those questions you've just answered in your mind, no, then that means you are losing out on money. Money and sales that you have worked extremely hard for to go out and drive, meet the customer, time, money, gas, effort. Time is money for me, guys. And I don't know about y'all, but I mean, what we do is a grind, and to go through all that work just to make a sale, for it to then not pay you in the long run in renewals, guys, why even go through all that to write the policy in the first place? So it just lets you know, when we're selling, we sell on need and we sell on affordability. And that's, if we can sell on both of those two things, then it makes it easier for us to close the back door and help with our customer retention. So that way we can grow on our commissions and grow on our renewals. Okay, so everybody in front of you guys have the script transferring from payroll deduction to bank draft script. Okay, and we are going to go over this and kind of just read through it. So let me pull it up right here so you guys can see, but it is in front of you because I know on the screen sometimes it is little. So I don't, and I do actually would like for you guys to mark through this as I'm saying it. So scratch through can I speak with, put a line through can I speak with. I probably need to be doing it with y'all so you can see how I'm like editing it with you. Okay, and I just say, hey John, this is Angela with Liberty National. I literally don't even say your life insurance company. I just say calling with, scratch out your life insurance company. This is Angela with Liberty National. How are you doing today? The reason for my call is I received an urgent notice from our home office that your policy is no longer being paid through your employer. I say employer because sometimes when I'm making calls, like call after call after call, I don't always have the time to research the name. So I usually just say through your employer. If the customer picks up the phone and I have time to navigate through Epic, which I'm going to show you here shortly how fast it is to navigate through Epic when you do finally get somebody on the phone. Sometimes they'll say, what employer or what job did I work for? Then I can go ahead and pull that up. But usually just to get through my initial intro, I say I'm calling from Liberty National in regards to your policy that I received an urgent notice that it's not being paid through your employer. And I want to find out what I can do to help you keep your benefits. That's like my initial intro, okay? And so a couple things that you're going to hear up front, and this gives you a script to be able to overcome those objections or those questions that they give you when you do get somebody on the phone. They can't afford it, okay? So I got laid off and I'm not working anymore. I completely understand. That's why I'm calling. And as you may remember, when you purchase the policy, you can take this coverage with you when you leave your employer. And all it takes to keep your coverage in place is the name of your bank, routing number, account number, and a day between the 1st through the 10th that you want your premiums to come out. Okay, so on that script, guys, I want you to write it somewhere right here at the top, wherever. Just write down routing number, account number, and a day between the 1st through the 10th. You want your premiums to come out. Clear my annotation. Okay, so and I remember I need to zoom in a little bit because you guys are on screen. So okay, there we go. If they still say, I just told you I can't afford it, I'm not working right now. Okay, well, here's what I can do. Because you're a valued customer, I can waive premiums to help you through this transition. Would it be okay if I called you back in a month to see if your situation has changed? Great, I'll talk to you then. And this right here has helped me get conservations more than I ever thought before. And that means having a follow-up system. So y'all know in the worksite market, there's a follow-up system in Epic that we use to follow up with customers that don't have time today to close the case. Individual market, you guys know that sometimes people are no-shows on your appointments, or they can't afford it 1 month because they're transitioning in work. So we have to come back and do a follow-up, right? So you have to be very organized with your follow-up system. Mine and Nikki's is setting a reminder on your phone. Hey Siri, add a reminder tomorrow at 5 p.m. or excuse me, add a reminder July 1st at 7 p.m. to call John Smith Conservation. Write it on your calendar. whatever you use to keep yourself organized, make sure you have something that's going to remind you to call this customer back, because I have conserved so many policies by just following up with them in a month. They've either changed jobs, they may be drawing a check, they may have gotten married, not working, and the husband has some money. I mean, their financial situation can change from month to month. So you following up with them always helps. And the great thing is again, we can waive the premium. So our waiver process allows us time to follow up with our customers. Okay, so don't think that just because you call on your list of conservations or chargebacks, oh, that's it, I couldn't get anybody. You know, I hear that all the time when I have my quality calls with the ADs and SAs. We've tried calling, we've called them, we're not getting anything. Nobody's responding, nobody's calling me back. Okay, did you try them again? Did you text them? The ones you did talk to, was there opportunity to follow up with them in a month once they, to see if their situation changed? You know, there's so many different, there's other options, I guess, we can have, especially when it comes to waiving premium, which gives us time to talk to that customer. Okay. Next is I need to talk to the spouse or think about it. Again, I'm not going to read this whole entire thing again because it is the exact same thing as this left side. Now, understand, so when you talk to your spouse, go ahead and let them know that you can keep your coverage. Also, it takes, all it takes is the name of your bank, routing number, and account number to be able to keep your coverage. It's not on here, but let's go ahead and let's write it if you guys can. I honestly like to call back when the spouse is with them. So, what time is your wife getting home from work? She'll be here at 6 o'clock tonight. Okay, great. Well, can I give you guys a call at 6:30? And just because I know she may have some questions that I probably can better answer for her. And so I'd love to be able to have that conversation with both of you guys when y'all are together. I know that's not on the script, but you can notate that on there. Call back when spouse is present. Sometimes when you're making these calls, it is the work number. And so when you do call and they say they don't work here anymore, I understand I'm calling about his or her life insurance policy. Do you have a number where I can reach them? It's very important. And I occasionally get that, and they always have a telephone number for me because, your bookkeepers and your payroll admins, they usually have files where they have telephone numbers for their previous employees. And really, when we're calling on this report, you got to remember they just probably recently left from the business. So it's not like it's that information is not as accessible as we think. If they change jobs, this is in the worksite market, guys, this is really a big opportunity for you. So great, we may be able to keep the payment for your benefits coming out of your paycheck. Where do you go to work? Who handles the benefits there? We'll follow up with your employer to see if they already do business with us. And if that's not possible, I'll give you a call back to get your premiums paid through your checking account. So probably Hannah Alfonso's team, they do more of closing accounts through conservation efforts. I'm always, getting a call from her. Hey, I got 125 paperwork. This guy just went to this new job. Can we just go ahead and transfer him once the case gets closed? And that's always been a big follow-up for her on closing accounts, just because people have left one job and gone to another. Okay. Guys, we are the biggest agency in the Southeast, the biggest agency covering South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And many times do we have people that conserve business and go to another account that we already have. Okay. I know Tara, and then they just did one. I think he was like $1,800 worth of annual premium, and he went to work for another one of our accounts. And her and that other AD worked together to get it conserved over and onto that new billing. And so that's just premium that had first year commissions on it, and we were able to salvage the customer. So I promise you there are so many scenarios that are out there, but we cannot find out unless we pick up the phone and give the customer a call. Okay. The last one here, and I get this, I do, is I can't afford it. I got laid off or terminated, which I just had this one yesterday. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. What are you looking for in your next career? The good news is that we are hiring, and we've had many former customers join our company. You sound like a nice person, and I don't know if you're fit for our company yet, but we are interviewing day and time. Which time works best for you? Great. Can you grab a pen and I'll be able to give you our address? It is professional dress, so please come professionally dressed and bring a copy of your resume. See you then. So I did have a conservation yesterday where I called her. She couldn't afford it, and she was located in a specific area by Savannah, and I was able to get her booked for coming in as a personal recruit. You know, so that right there is just, I may not was able to keep the customer, but I was able to offer her an opportunity and as a personal recruit. Okay, so like I said, it just happened yesterday. So if it can happen for me, I promise you it can happen for you guys. And there's not an option or not a rebuttal that we can overcome to either help the customer through keeping their coverage or help them by giving them the opportunity if they can't afford it and they need a job. Okay, and so once you do get these three pieces of information, three pieces of information, again, routing number, account number, day between the 1st through the 10th. Once we get that over the phone, because we do not need a signature, all we have to do is fill out a conservation form, send it to me. I know it says send it to back office, but I have to sign it before it goes to our conservation department. Okay, so that is the script. And notice, guys, at the very beginning, you know, when we are having that intro, notice that it says your benefits, meaning that we already do business together. I got an urgent notice. Urgent creates that urgency that their coverage is not in effect, and that their employer is no longer in benefit. That means if something were to happen, their policy would not pay. Okay, so whenever you are giving that intro, and you guys can even underline what I on that first top portion of the script right here. Okay, you guys can even underline your urgent, no longer being paid. Okay, because again, when we are on the phone, we do have to also work on voice inflation to make sure there's certain words that we stress to them where they can hear on the phone the importance of it and the urgency of it. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we already talked about this stuff. So really quickly, this is the last part of it. When we're actually getting when we're actually getting this report, how do we do it, right? So for my ADs, SAs, and agents that are on the worksite market, first thing you do is you're coming into your SAMS report. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Coming into our SAMS report, we are seeing the district. So district is underlined, you know, or branch 040, 042, 142. So first go to your district, and then go and look over here on this far right-hand column, company name. See if there is any accounts on here that you have enrolled or that are yours that sound familiar to you. Okay, and these are the ones that we want to be able to call on. Paid due dates. Remember, recode. What was the recode rule for policies that are 60 days past due? 60 days past due, we have to call them and conserve them within 3 days, or they'll be open for recode. So individual market in Richmond Hill, if you see a policy, if I send out a SAMS on Monday and it is Friday and you're in call clinic, you guys have the opportunity to conserve policies that have a paid due date of 60 days past due of that same week that I sent that report out. Okay, so let me give you this example. I want everybody to see the one that I have highlighted right here. This is Savannah Glass, Brad Blake. His policy is paid to 5/1. Okay, but notice here that it's only one policy from Savannah Glass for Brad Blake in this section. What it does sometimes when it generates on the SAMS is he could have 3 or 4 policies and they're just kind of scattered throughout the 3 pages of the SAMS. That's just a home office deal and how it generates. But whenever I'm making calls, All I got to do unfortunately, guys, it does not have the telephone number. So I do apologize, but that is just something that you just have to do. You have to take the policy number, go into Epic. Let me show you from the beginning before, because I already have it pulled up. But when I'm in Epic, I'm going to paste the policy number, search. Here he is. Click on his policy number, and I probably need to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. I can see right here is his policy number. I'm going to scroll down a bit, and I'm going to be able to see his telephone number. So let me give Brad Blake a call before I start looking at any other information. While his phone is ringing, I'm already coming over here and I'm looking, okay, he's from Savannah Glass, ring, ring, ring. All right, he's got, oh, down here where it says policies, these are the related policies, okay? When it says, you know, your accidental death, your discount drug card, those are the no-cost policies, the intro offers we give them. So those, I'm not going to go over premiums, okay? Oh, but look, this is a life insurance policy, but I didn't realize he had a cancer policy also because it didn't show on the stand. Well, let me just right-click, open in a new link. So right in front of me right now, I have this one tab is a life insurance, group term 65, okay, meaning paid due date is right here, 5/1. So if today's June 30th, I can waive May and June, and let me go to his other policy. Oh, okay, his other policy paid to 6/1, so I can just waive June. All right, hey, Brad, I'm just giving you a call from Liberty National. How you doing today? Awesome, great. Well, I just wanted to touch base with you because I got an urgent notice from our home office that your premiums are no longer being paid by your employer, and I'm calling to see what I can do to help you keep your coverage. Oh yeah, I want to keep it. I forgot that I can keep my coverage. How much is it going to be a month? Well, if he's asking me the premiums and you're trying to figure out, okay, how much is it? You got right here, billing information. 818 is for your cancer policy that you had. 818 for your cancer policy. Let me zoom in so you guys can see it. And on your life insurance, you had a $50,000 life insurance that pays up at age 65. And I see Mrs. Oda Blake is your mom, and she's the beneficiary. That policy is $47.64 a month also. So, you know, I'm getting my phone out and I'm calculating a total for everything will be $50-something a month. Are you comfortable with those premiums, Brad? Yep, sounds great. Awesome. Okay, I just want to double check also, your address is still 125 Tibbet Avenue, Savannah, Georgia. Is that still correct? Great. Now, here's a side note, guys. I always verify the address before I collect the bank information because I don't want them to think it's a scam. So if we jump into asking for banking information before we verify any personal information, they are going to be more hesitant to give you that routing number and account number. Note that down on your script, please. Verify beneficiary, verify address. Okay, so I verify the address. Awesome. Okay, so Mr. Brad, $50-something a month coming out of your bank account. All I need from you is your routing number, account number, and a day between the 1st or the 10th that you want your premiums to come out. He gives me all that information. Got it written down. And hey, Mr. Brad, I just want to let you know because your policies are lapsed as of today. I am going to, because it is the 30th a month, I'm going to go ahead and waive May premiums and June premiums for you. And since you selected a draft date of the 5th, your premiums are going to draft on July 5th. Okay, are those premiums there right now, the $52? Yep, they're good to go. Awesome, Brad. Well, if there's anything you need, feel free to give me a call. And, you know, I'm here to service you. Have a blessed day. And I get off the phone with him, okay? And so, again, that just is kind of that's a perfect world like that. And it does happen sometimes when I get a customer on the phone where I can just go ahead and conserve them right away. But I wanted you guys to see my thought process when I have the customer's information in front of me. As it's ringing, go ahead and pull up the policy in Epic because you kind of have to do that anyway to get the contact information. But when you are looking at the details of the policy, you can see paid due date, monthly premium, type of policy, beneficiary. Here's the contact info and the address that I verify. And at the very bottom is going, hey guys, I'm getting some background noise. And at the very bottom is going to be the other policies that they may have that may not be showing right there at that Saturday Sam section that you got that policy from. Okay, and that's really how to navigate through that phone call. So I'm going to stop right here. I know we covered a lot of information. I'm sure there are some people that have some questions. I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody. What questions do you guys have? Questions, challenges at all before we conclude from our call? And I do have one more thing I want to say before we conclude in closing. I don't hear any questions. So just want to recap as we shut down. There's a lot of
We got a question,
right
Ms. Angela.
Oh, I like questions. Hit me with it, Damien.
Well, one, a bad draft. If we set up a draft to waive and it's unsuccessful, what happens as a consequence?
That is a very good question. That's a very, very good question. So if, let's say in this specific scenario, if we waive May and June and we try to draft in July and the funds are not there, okay, then it just is going to go to monthly premium notice and it's going to lapse in August, August 19th, because it's going to have a pay due date of 7/1. So what actually ends up happening is it home office waives it and brings the pay due date up to 7/1, and then it'll lapse, once the draft doesn't take place again. So what you do want to know also is you can have a request for Conservation Department to draft again. So always keep in mind when I'm getting background noise. I don't know who I'm getting it from, but you can request for the Conservation Department. Funds were not available. It doesn't look like policy updated. Can you please draft customer's account? The funds are there now. Please draft immediately. So that is how you would handle that scenario. And that's a very good question. What else?
Okay, one more question, Angela. This comes from Melissa and Bree. So if it is, let me see, how am I going to word this? If say it's the 22nd of June, it was paid up to May. We waive May. You would waive June. So when would the first thing come out? Would it come out like the next month on the date that they chose?
Yep. Yes, ma'am. You got it. Because it's after the 22nd would be after the 15th. So we would waive May, waive June, and it would draft in July, whatever day they selected.
And then if it's before the 15th, it would draft a few days after we send it up.
And then
Again, the July, the day they set.
Correct. You got it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And that's why, guys, if it's before the 15th, this goes out to everybody. Damien, to your question, Bree, to your question. When you let them know, if it's specifically in a draft in the next 2 to 3 business days, hey, are those funds available? Because that's how you prevent from those non-sufficient funds, by asking them before we process that conservation, before you get them off the phone. Okay. What other questions?
I got another one from the Hill.
Shout it out from the Hill, Damien.
All right, this is Isaac. So when you switch them over to bank draft from payroll, so payroll is weekly, right? But bank draft is monthly. So do the rates change at all?
Good question. So yes, your payrolls are going to have weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly pay frequencies. The amount that you're going to give them when you're pulling it up in Epic is going to be monthly, and it is going to change to now coming out of their checking account on monthly. And I have had that question before from customers. They'll say, is my premiums going to go up? No, ma'am. Just remember when you were working at ABC Roofing, it was coming out of your paycheck every week. But now that it's going to be coming out of your checking account, it's just going to be on a monthly basis. But that same exact amount of what you were paying on a monthly basis through the job.
All right, thank you.
Sir. Good questions. What else?
Good question, Rachel.
All right, guys. Well, just to recap, I don't have any other questions. If you do have one afterwards, you recap with your team, just give me a call. I'm going to meet because I'm getting, but as I recap here for you guys, just I want you guys, again, my ADs, to please look at this and see where you guys stand, because this is the biggest opportunity right now as an agency where we're bleeding money when it comes to commissions and renewals, and we have to close that back door. So I have a plan of action for everybody, ADs and SAs. I need you guys to get together before the day is out, and I need a text message from you guys on, it does not take long for us to implement a 30-minute conservation session to call on chargebacks and Saturday SAMs within the days that you guys are in the office. Okay, I know we're switching to the Friday deal. My individual market, you guys are going to be in office on, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I need a day and a time that you're going to start implementing this 30-minute call clinic session. Because I'm getting some background noise in, guys. Let me mute.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. It's okay. It's just echoing sometimes. 30 minutes, I think Richmond Hill may be doing an hour, but I need 30 minutes is all it takes to split between the ADs and the SAs making calls on the days you're in the office. Everybody can have your own time. I need that from you because I need to be able to run this through Brian on making sure that it's not interfering with anything he already has on his calendar. So go ahead and get with them, come up with a time slot that you're going to be making calls with your team. We're going to go ahead and confirm everything, make sure it's good to go for your specific day and team, guys. And then I am going to be every week, I'm going to be dropping in on those call clinics and making sure we are having them on a Zoom where I'm going to be making calls and y'all are going to be making calls at the same time. So that way we can be making sure that we're implementing this effort by closing the back door to increase y'all's commissions and renewals. And it all starts with just picking up the phone and giving the customer a call. Okay. So I appreciate y'all's time. If there's anything you need, give me a call, and y'all have a blessed weekend and enjoy the 4th of July. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.